All right. So I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna make a new part because that's what we want to do first. So in SolidWorks, instead of everything kind of being together, we have individual files for each thing. So we saw in Fusion we have a part and then we have drawings. We haven't gotten to assemblies yet, but in SolidWorks things are all separate and we link them together. You save them on your computer. Blah, blah, blah. So we're gonna start a part. We'll always start with a part. This is our 3D thing that drives everything else. So now we're got it open. You notice I have it on a sketch tab, but also if I go here, the features, I can see some stuff. So first of all, the display is kind of switched, right? Oh, let me fix the recording for you guys. For the
That's you.
a little better. All right. SolidWorks does make this like weird background thing. Oh, actually, if I just do plain white there, now it goes away. SolidWorks tries to be a little more showy. So just turn that background right there just to be plain white instead of the faded. So you notice the ribbon is different than any other program, right? In every other program, the tabs are on top and the ribbon is below that. SolidWorks is flipped. That's because SolidWorks did it first. They have this ribbon longer than Windows did. And so they just did an update to match the rest of Windows. Once Windows finally went to a ribbon, they're like, no, this is the way we do it. This is the way we're going to keep doing it. So if we look here, we have our features. And then we have a sketch tab here. Sometimes this comes up by default. Sometimes it comes up straight to the features. It's okay. In SolidWorks, all times what we'll do is instead of making a sketch first, actually hitting the sketch button to make a sketch, starting it, we can start with the feature. Because if I'm here and I hit extrude, what do I need before I can extrude? A sketch. So if I hit extrude, it's going to ask me, where do you want to sketch? So if I don't already have a sketch made, it's going to ask me, do you want to make a sketch? Where do you want to put it? So now I can pick which plane I want to put it on, and it puts it in. And you notice it rotated it, and I don't like that. So I'm going to hit the space bar, and that's going to bring this up, and I can click here, or I can turn on this little cube thing here. Now I get like a little picture of a cube. So I can see what it is, or I can just click on that to go back to the isometric there. So now here's my kind of little origin there. If I wanted to see a grid, I can turn one on somehow. I think it's in here. But I usually don't turn it on. I work with defaults. But if you want it on, eyeball, grid. Now you can at least see where your planes are, where your sketch plane is. But I have my sketch here, and now drawing is just the same, right? Rectangles. Those top three are the same exact options we have in Fusion, right? If I do a circle, two of the options we have in Fusion. If I go to slots, same options I have in Fusion, right? So a lot of the things are kind of the same. There's this one called convert entities. That's the same as project. We haven't talked about offset yet. We don't do splits in that. So I can go in and sketch in, just grab there. See, doesn't that symbol look familiar? What symbol does that look like? No, it's this symbol right here, next to my cursor.
Perpendicular.
No, because perpendicular would have the little corner right there. Looks like coincident because it's coincident. And I can draw out my shape. And then if I want a dimension, I have to go up and hit dimension. D is not the shortcut for dimension. I don't know why. I make it the shortcut for dimension. So I go up. So if you go up to the word SolidWorks, you'll see that you get this little menu that pops out with actual pull down menus. And I can go down to options, or I can go to customize. And I'm gonna go to keyboard, and I'm gonna go down and search for smart dimension here. And for the shortcut, I wanna make that D. And it says that D is already used by this other thing. And I wanna reassign it, because I don't ever use that other thing. I use dimensions a lot though. So now I can hit D, and it goes to dimensions. So I can tell it what to be. And, oh no, that's in inches. So I can just type in 45 millimeters, right? Just like before. And it does the math, and it knows that 45 millimeters is that. I can also get out of that down here at the bottom where it says IPS.
That was going to be inches.
Yep. Because right now IPS stands for inch, pounds, seconds. So the unit of measurement, the unit of weight, and unit of time. So if I click there, I can pick other ones. So the other one we use is MMGS, millimeters, grams, and seconds. And it kicked me out of my sketch. So if you're in SolidWorks and you want to switch units, usually you do it before you create your sketch. So I can just double click on, or click on sketch, go back to edit, and I'm back into editing it. And I'm gonna go up and go into my options. And under sketch, I'm gonna turn off auto rotate. Top option, auto rotate sketch. I turn that off because I don't like it to turn and look straight at it. So now I can dimension, put that in there. There we go. And you can see it added in my constraints. So I have my coincident, I have vertical, I have horizontal, all that stuff. I don't see those anywhere here though, right? So if I have a line somewhere, if I pick on the line, look over on the left. Now it has these things called relations that are exactly the same thing. But now instead of having a vertical and horizontal one, it just snaps to the nearest, it has a horizontal and a vertical. And one of those is bold. That's the one that thinks you want to do. It says that, oh, this line looks like it's a little bit closer to horizontal. Is that what you want? You can click horizontal or go horizontal, or you can say, no, I want that to be vertical. So. Or if I pick two different things, so holding control, pick two things, not saying, oh, from these two things, we can do this combination of things. I can make those equal, I can make those parallel, I can make them perpendicular, collinear, or horizontal and vertical from each other. Or horizontal and vertical. If I pick like 2 points, control, it says, oh, you want to merge those two together? So same thing as coincident, or coincident, same thing. Or I can make those horizontal from each other or vertical to each other. And it's always fixed, but never don't use that. So it's always depending on what you're picking is the options that it's going to show you for those things. Okay, so that's kind of one of the differences there is SolidWorks is always gonna, it's not just gonna give you all the options. It's based on what you pick, this is what you can do. What do you want to do? But I'm gonna go ahead and just use those, finish it. And if I had not gotten out of that before, so let me just click out of this. So change my units. Now I go to Extrude Boss. I click a plane. The first one still always does that. For some reason. So home, drop it in, dimension. And then as soon as I hit finish to finish the sketch, what did it do? took me to extrude because that's the command I told it that I wanted to use. Yeah, take a seat. Because I already told it, I want to extrude something. I'm going to draw the sketch. Now that I'm done, yeah, take me back to extrude. Let me finish the command I told you I wanted to do. And now I can tell it, go 5. And I can tell it to go up, down, by flip. So no negative numbers, I flip the directions. Or I can tell it to go mid-plane. So instead of symmetric, it's mid-plane. And in here, the mid-plane is the overall distance, not the half or the overall. I don't get a pick, it's always the overall distance. So it can be mid-plane, or it can be blind, up or down. I can also add it in a second distance. So if you've played with Fusion at all, you know there's a 2 distance option. I can do that here by doing 2 distance. Now I can tell it one distance one way, the other distance the other way. Or the thin feature that we kind of talked about, we can turn that on here also. So it's all kind of here on this side panel. So now I can say okay. And so I do that rectangle and I want to sketch again. So now I want to make a cut. So I'm not going to use chamfer command. I'm actually just going to sketch a line and cut it out. What should I do? Look at the top. I see 2 extrudes. So in SolidWorks, there is one set of commands for adding material and the same exact set of commands for cutting material. You have to pick the right one. You can't cut materials with this. You can't add materials with this. You can't switch between add or cut. You have to pick the right command. But if you make a sketch, you can always just pick the opposite one with that sketch. And so SolidWorks is just, you want to add material, you can go here. You want to cut material, go here. Why they do that, I don't know. It's just, you're going to hear me say SolidWorks does SolidWorks things. That's when I don't have an answer for why SolidWorks does stuff. That's just the way they've always done it. That's the way they're always going to do it. So I'm going to do Extrude Cut. Pick where I want to sketch. And I'm just going to draw in my line. And then you go to Dimension. And I just did that line, right? And so it's got 2 little arrows here. It does not automatically project the edges of the part like Inventor, like Fusion does. It just does that single line. It'll let me snap to those lines even though they're not projected. I can snap to the point or to the edges even though that means it's projected. So I don't have a closed profile. I just drew a single line. If I have a single line, it asks me, which side do I want to cut? Do I want to cut that side or that side? And then how far do I want to go? I'll go through all. I can say okay, and away it goes. I don't have to have a closed profile if I'm wanting to cut. If I want to join, then I have to have a closed profile. But if I'm cutting, I don't need a closed profile. I just need something telling it where I want to go. Whether it's a single line or if it's a shape. There. Extrude Cut. And I could, you know, say done. It's gonna take that whole thing, ask me which side I want to cut, and okay. Extrude Cut. So if I've done a sketch before, like if I've gone to sketch and sketched, now it's like, okay, do you want to use the sketch you already have, or do you want to make a new sketch? So I can just pick that line, and it's going to go, okay, you want to use that. There we go. Let's say I want to use a chamfer for here. Where do you think chamfer is? Yeah. Under fillet, right? They're basically the same thing, just one's flat, one's curved. Chamfer, pick the edge. Already selected 10. And say okay. So you can see the preview is not there right now. So I can do a no preview, a partial preview, or a full preview. And there's no difference between the full and the partial. And So the difference is if I pick 2 edges, partial only previews it on one of the edges, full previews it on all the edges.
Did you give distances?
No, it's just giving you some kind of semblance of what that cut is going to be. Either distance angle, 2 distances. You can do the distance of the actual flat spot, which you don't have in Fusion. And so I can say that and say OK. And if you didn't notice, just pressing the middle wheel on the mouse gives you your orbit. You don't have to shift. I keep doing this because I keep wanting to hold shift and do it because I've been using Fusion for a few weeks. So it takes a while. Like, oh no, don't hit that. I could go in and change the settings to not do that, but I'm too lazy to do that. So, any other questions so far on SolidWorks? But now are you seeing it's kind of the same? More the same?
Should we leave our thing in SolidWorks in ISO or ANSI, or it really doesn't?
The template or your standard should be in ASME, because that's our drawings are ASME. We follow ASME. We don't do anything in ISO.
What about the hole?
We'll get to the hole right now. But for their standard, so if we don't know where that's in options. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's in document properties right here.
Mm-hmm.
You want this to be an ANSI.
ANSI, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So not ISO. You want an ANSI. Hopefully you picked that.
Oh, definitely in.
So there. All right. So now we need a hole. Where should we go? The hole wizard. Right there. And so we get lots of options here. Way more stuff now than we had in Fusion, right? And so hole type, I want a standard hole, right? I don't want a counterbore hole. I don't want a countersunk hole. I don't want threads. I don't want a pipe thread. I don't want simple hole. I mean, I could use this one, right? Maybe that gives me a little easier. I can just put in diameter and depth, or just say through all. And now all I have to worry about is the diameter of it. I could do that. But I like this one better usually. Or I can even add slots, like a regular slot, a countersunk slot, or a counterboard slot, all with one command. I'm just going to pick here though. And so coming down here, I get lots of options. So I get a standard, so don't worry about all the rest of the stuff. These ones down here are nice, this PIM. So like these little inserts right here, these are PIM nuts. PIM is like the primary manufacturer of these that kind of came out with them. And so like you could pick PIM, and you can pick which style of this that you want, and it puts in the right size hole for it. Which like that's kind of cool. If you know that you're using that, you know, this whatever which one, using that one for that size thread, it's going to put in the right size hole for that thing. That's an awesome thing. But usually keep it just inches or metric. But now if I go down here and look at the sizes, I've got a bunch of stuff. So I've got all these number sizes. So sizes that are really smaller have number designations. When I get bigger sizes, like above, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or so, now I have letter sizes, and I have fractional sizes, and all this stuff, right? So I could just take this type and all drill sizes, and that gives me every single size that I can buy a drill bit for. I can have dowel holes. Don't use that. Dowel holes are not like in woodworking, like little dowels. That's not what it means. It means precision dowels of machined piece, and so the symbol for them is different on the drawing. It doesn't. it like makes a little like target symbol. Don't use those. But I could put in fractional sizes, or I can put screw clearances, things like that. So usually we go to fractional sizes. Now I've got, for inches, I've got my fractional ones. If I was doing like helicoil stuff, I've got those too. Or I can go straight to letters, numbers, screw clearances, tap drills. So I can tell it whatever. If I go to metric, again, dowel holes or drill sizes are going to be things that you can buy a drill size in for metric holes. So you can come down the list and find the one you want. So I don't remember what that was. That was a 4. Grab a 4. You can also do custom sizing and override that with your own. But in SolidWorks, whatever size you pick here is what it's going to label the hole. It's not just going to say hole, it's going to say 4mm hole. And I'm going to tell it through all. We've got options down here for a near side countersink and a far side countersink. So I can add in a chamfer on it automatically. I'm going to turn those off. Stuff like that. But where's that hole going to be? Yeah, go to positions. Now I can tell where I want it. I'm going to pick on that face. I'm just going to click somewhere to put the hole down. Now I can tell it how to line it up. So now I'm going to draw a line from, this edge to there. Tell that line to be horizontal. Uh-oh. I'll just skip that one. Because it wants to make holes at points. Anytime you have a point, it wants to put a hole there. So I can tell to skip that one. And actually, this is something new in 24. So now I can dimension my 4.4 and my 4. Say okay. I can either keep adding new positions if I wanted, or I can go back to type to change the type settings. But either place I can say okay and finish the whole command. And if I expand this, you can see that it actually made 2 sketches. It made one sketch of the position of the hole. It also made another sketch showing me the profile that it revolved to make the hole. So when it makes the holes, it actually revolves a sketch to make the hole. But it makes that sketch automatically for you. But you can go in and edit that sketch as an advanced thing. If you need to have your hole do something different, you can always go back in and edit that sketch and fix it. Don't do that right now. But if we expand out any of these things, we can see the feature that was made and the shape. So the feature, the sketch, as it goes through. I can condense those back down. Have this here. Questions now? So does it make a little bit more sense? Not as scary now?
Yeah. Like, it felt clunky because I was doing it the same way as Fusion. I created my sketch.
And you can do that same thing. You can go to sketch, create a sketch, click on it, and then draw, whatever. Draw a rectangle, dimension it, hit finish, go back to features, extrude cut, cut it out.
Yeah.
So I can do the same steps, just you don't have to hit the create sketch button because you can just do it by doing here. I can go back in time just by dragging that up, just like in Fusion. So the timeline will be on the bottom. Now the timeline is in the browser on the side, which I can see more clearly what my things are, right? You can see that does say 4mm hole right there. If I edited that one, I could also tell it to do just the simple hole. And I could tell it to be right here, just like click on that, double click, tell it to be, 5. Through all, okay. And now it just says hole. It doesn't say 5mm. It just says hole. But I could just click on it and say 5mm. And rename my step. You can do the same thing in Fusion. Just in Fusion, there are just the icons down there. But as you roll over, you can see what you've renamed. I almost never rename things in Fusion, but here I might rename more often because now I actually see what it is. So just edit that, change that back down to 4. But if I edit this thickness, and you can see it does go all the way through still. I had told it to go all the way through. If I edit that, it did update that value for the distance to match the thickness of the part. So whichever way you do it, if you do it as just the regular hole with the drill size, or you do just the simple hole, either way. But if you're going to be doing holes for clearance, then of course you'd want to use the regular hole here and then tell it to be a screw clearance. Now I can tell it whatever size. So like a 1/4 inch, normal. And if I show custom sizing, I can see that that's that same 0.266 that it was in Fusion. If I change that to loose, it's the same 0.281 that we had in Fusion. Because that's the standard. That is the standard clearance for that size screw. They both know it. They're both going to use the same value. Any questions there? Yep. Yeah, so on the eyeball, one right here. That's your sketch grid. You go here, it turns on all the planes.
Gotcha.
So what about some other things we've done? So like mirroring, right? There's mirror. I can mirror the whole body. So if I tell it bodies to mirror, like that, mirror face, there, okay, there you go. Let's say I want to, I don't have a good thing there, so I could do mirror a feature also if I had something to mirror. Just in the mirror, instead of picking bodies, I'd pick under features to mirror, I'd pick the feature. Then I'd pick the plane to mirror across. So mirror. Not going to work probably. So when I extrude things, I'll pick, draw something, and you can see the option is merge results. So we want to merge the result so that way it joins together. You have merge result turned off. Now it creates two different bodies here that are not the same. So our file here in SolidWorks is the same as our component in Fusion. Each component that we have in Fusion would be a different file here in SolidWorks. Okay?
On the mirror, right here.
Yes. So if I go into reference geometry, I could create a plane. So let's say here, now I want that to be there. I can pick that edge. Say okay. Face. Make it parallel. And that's actually what we're going to be doing on Wednesday, is making reference geometry both in Fusion, and we might do it in here too. So now if I go to mirror, my mirror plane would be that. My feature to mirror would be that. Because I don't have it merged. Mirror, face there. Boss there. Now it goes. Why wouldn't it let me mirror that as a, before it was not merged, why wouldn't it let me mirror it as a feature?
Feature.
Because it's not a feature, it's a body. If I'd picked mirror body, then I would have mirrored it. But so there, I can make new things and mirror whatever. So now I have this. I can mirror across, you know, that face. And I can mirror that hole. So, mirror hole. But it's only gonna do that one. So kind of get the idea. So same kind of things. Fillets are same. If I go to fillet, I have some different options, but you know, regular edges, so doing one edge at a time. Here's that full round fillet. But now I have to pick sides, so I can pick one side, middle side, and the third side. I can't just pick the middle surface like I do in Fusion. I also have this one here, this face fillet, where I can pick two different faces, so I have to pick, and it puts the fill between them. And this works even if there's another cutout or something. But even if there was there's something else going on here, let's pretend I had kind of cut out there, and I didn't have an edge to pick. I could do the face fillet, pick one side, pick the other side, tell what size I wanted it to be, say okay, and it's going to fill in all the stuff that's there. So that's kind of an advantage. But if there's a weird cutout or the faces just didn't join together yet, I don't have to make an edge and then fill it. I can just like fix it. The big difference though is patterns. And we haven't gotten to patterns yet in Fusion. We'll be doing that probably Wednesday. But we have lots of in Fusion. We have linear, circular, and curve. Here we also have sketch driven, table driven, fill, variable, all this other stuff. So same thing with some of these other commands. There's some other options there that we talked about. But that kind of makes SolidWorks a little less intimidating now.
Yes, definitely.